from the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us true believers for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for May 2019. Now May is always the most exciting month for comics because Free Comic Book Day. It's always the first Saturday in May and it's just a big celebration of comics. The publishers come out with special books for us to give away, and I'll be giving away hundreds. I was thinking about saying thousands, but that might be stretching things. But at least hundreds of books away on that day. Lots of them use it to introduce you to new titles, to start events, all sorts of good stuff. I always supplement it with a lot of the low-cost books that the publishers put out. I'll order some of those to get you interested in some other series and get some things you might not have seen. We also do it really big here. I bring the grill up. We do hot dogs on the grill. There's pop. There's cookies. And I always run big sales. It's a really fun, crazy, busy day. Last year I got smart and I was able to add a second register, and it really helped things move remarkably smoothly. So I'm hoping it'll work again this year. One of the things I've been thinking about is where I'm going to put the second register now that we've reconfigured the store after the rebuild. So lots of things to still do and get ready for, but first Saturday in May, May 4th, is Free Comic Book Day. So please, please come by. Lots of good stuff. The other thing that I'm doing, every month I do double points of promotion on a different series or publisher or something. But because Free Comic Book Day is falling on May the 4th, which is traditionally Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, I decided to, since it's getting short shrift and it is not getting the day of its own, I decided to make it Star Wars Month. So all Star Wars and related graphic novels be double points all month long for May. So we'll have a special display set up and go ahead and take a look and find some stuff you might not know about. Marvel's been doing a ton of stuff, a ton of books just based on different characters, plus reprinting all the Dark Horse stuff. So there's tons of Star Wars stuff out there, and there's a little buzz with the trailer for the next movie hitting. People are kind of excited about Star Wars right now, even though it's not until Christmas. So that's what's going on here at the store. Keep an eye out for details about Free Comic Book Day. I'll post probably right before, probably just like on the 1st or the 2nd, exactly what's going on. So it's all be on the website and on Facebook and all that stuff. So lots going on. The publishers realize that May is a big month and they always like to get lots and lots of product out for May. It also helps that May this year is a 5 Wednesday month and we get new books on Wednesday. So there's 5 delivery days and they always try to fill them up and give us a little bit more. Some books will ship 2 issues that month instead of just 1. They also like to put out extra specials and annuals and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So here's what's going on. We're going to start with DC. DC's been a little lax lately as far as new titles and things. Not that that's bad. The next issue of series is always good, new storylines and stuff, but they haven't had a lot of new titles and things coming out lately. Well, May's different for them. They're coming out with a ton of stuff. So let's get started with DC. Now, the first thing they're doing, they did this last year and it's worked for them, where they're doing some Free Comic Book Day books, but those books are mostly promoting their new young reader and kids graphic novels and digests that they're doing, which is great because that's the real big growing part of the market, and so they're addressing that. But they didn't have a real Free Comic Book Day book announced. Well, they changed that. And what they have is it's going to be the first issue to kick off their big Year of the Villain event. It's not so much an event like there's going to be specific issues, but it's going to be going through and touching on all the books. And it's a year where the villains are kind of getting their act together and trying to take over. So on Free Comic Book Day, they're going to have a special Year of the Villain #1. And basically, with that, it's Lex Luthor is finally getting the Legion of Doom, getting their act together. Leviathan, which is currently going on in Action Comics right now, is going to get a foothold, and lots of other things going on with the villains taking over. And they just announced in the new previews that they're going to be doing special variant covers, villain variant covers on the titles that it's going into during the month. So when this kicks off in, I believe, July, going through the different titles, that's when we'll start seeing stuff. We're also getting the third and final installment of Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They've had some fun where in the first one, Batman ends up in the Turtles world and taking on the Hand. Then in the second one, the Turtles came to the Batman world and were taking on Bane. And now this one is Krang from the Turtles world is trying to take over both worlds, and they have to stop them. James Tynion, who's a real up-and-coming writer, he had a real long run on Detective that was very good. He's writing it. And Freddie Williams III, who did the first Batman Turtles book, is back doing it, and it was very, very popular. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are back on Batman. This is one of their Black Label books, and it's going to be a 3-issue, big 56-page, big chunky issues of Batman: The Last Night on Earth. And what it is Bruce Wayne wakes up in Arkham Asylum, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's Bruce Wayne, he's not Batman. And something horrible has happened in the world, almost like a dystopian future. And now he has to figure out what happened. So it's going to be a story by these guys who had that big, long New 52 run on Batman, and they're back revisiting the character that they both dearly love. Then we have a neat one. It's called Deceased, or Deceased. And it's by Tom Taylor, who had a big run, or he wrote all of the Injustice books, which is kind of an alternate reality where I believe Joker kills Lois Lane and Superman goes nuts and becomes evil, and it's a big long storyline. It tied into the video game, but the books have gone on, and I've heard nothing but great stuff about them. So he's basically taking his turn on DC zombies, and something happens. A virus affects 600 million people on Earth, and they become super aggressive, killing creatures. And the Justice League and the heroes that aren't turned into this have to figure out how to stop it. It should be a big, sprawling epic with some really fantastic covers, because they're homaging some horror movie covers. And the first one is It, and it's the Joker handing Robin a balloon. Just really, really good covers. So I got to read the first issue in Charlotte, and it was very, very good. So I think this is going to be a fun, disturbing book. So Batman and the Outsiders is back. They announced this a little while ago and then canceled it, and it was interesting listening to Dan DiDio, who's one of the publishers at DC, and the reason they canceled it was he felt it wasn't good enough. So he kind of sent him back to the drawing board to do it again. So this is back again, and it's should finally be coming out. But basically, the Outsiders are a group that it spins out of the Detective run that James Tynion did, where it was kind of a team book, and it was Batman's helpers, and they kind of formed this group, and now he enlisted Black Lightning to kind of lead them, because he's the most moral person that he knows, and he wants him to lead these characters who aren't necessarily the best of people. They all have little twisted backgrounds and things. So he has them, and they're going to kind of go into the morally gray areas that Batman tries to stay away from, but at least they have a center. It's going to be Black Lightning leading the Outsiders of Katana, The Signal, and Orphan. And Orphan was the old Batgirl who became Black Bat, and now she's known as Orphan. We also have Deathstroke 43 is the end of the Terminus agenda, and this is where the Teen Titans have decided to take care of Deathstroke once and for all. He's been too much of a threat, and apparently something really bad is supposed to happen in this issue. For fun, they're doing the Dog Days of Summer, which is one of their big $10, big chunky books, written by all kinds of people, drawn by all kinds of people. Just a real fun story, just all the heroes and villains dealing with summer of things. Heroes in Crisis wraps up. That got a lot of buzz. The last issue that came out at the end of April got a lot of buzz in not a great way. So we're going to see how this wraps up, and I have a feeling he'll fix everything. Superman Leviathan Rising is a one-shot. Leviathan is in Action Comics, and it's being a huge threat that Amanda Waller's gotten involved with the Suicide Squad and Superman. And this is a one-shot where a bunch of different creators are showing exactly what Leviathan is and how far it stretches and all sorts of stuff. Batman 70, we're done with Nightmare. and now we're getting into the next storyline, which is The Fall in the Fallen. So that's the next part of Batman. Detective Comics Annual looks fun. Peter Tomasi, who's taken over the book, is writing it, but Batman is getting back into his black case file. And basically, these are all the cases that are the darkest and most disturbing ones that he hasn't solved yet. So there's going to be an annual dealing with some of those. And then Flash Year One begins, where it's Josh Williamson kind of giving his little spin on Flash's origin. So that's what DC has coming. Marvel has all sorts of stuff. War Realms is a big thing. We'll get to that. Starting off, Savage Avengers. Now, in the course of the last Avengers miniseries, they ran into Conan the Barbarian, and now he has been brought into the Marvel Universe. Not the regular one. He's not walking around New York just yet, but he's in the Savage Land. So Marvel has put together this team of the most savage, most unlikable characters they could to create this Savage Avengers team. And it's Conan, Wolverine, Venom, Elektra, and Punisher are all gathered together in the Savage Land to take on something. We'll find out. War Realms is continuing, and there's a bunch of miniseries coming out from this with real interesting things. Malekith, who is the great dark elf, has taken over all the other realms and now has his sights set on Earth. And the heroes are having to figure out how they're going to stop him. So the first little miniseries they have is called Strike Force, the Dark Elf Realm. And this is where a bunch of heroes go to stop him from being able to go from realm to realm and move his people around. Because he has, basically, if you remember in the Thor movies, there's the Rainbow Bridge. Well, he has his Black Bifrost that lets him do that. So they go to the Dark Elf Realm, and it's Freya, who is Thor's mom. She-Hulk, Punisher, Blade, and Ghost Rider are on that task. Then there's Strike Force, the War Avengers. These are the people who are left on Earth. And this is Captain Marvel, Weapon H, who's a big Hulk-Wolverine hybrid. Captain Britain, Venom, and Deadpool are bonding together to fight on Earth to try to stop them. You also have Strike Force, Land of the Giants. Thor has been captured by Malekith and has been taken to the giant world to where he's being held captive. So a group of heroes are going to try to free him there, and that includes Captain America, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Interesting group to go fight giants, but sure, we'll see how that goes. And then there's another one called Spider-Man and the League of Realms, and basically one hero has survived from each of the realms, and they all get together with Spider-Man, of all people, leading them. And basically, Spider-Man's not exactly a great leader, so we'll see how this goes. And another one is New Agents of Atlas. These are a group of Asian characters who, when the Dark Elves come to Asia, they're tasked with defending it. It's characters like Shang-Chi and some others. And they're adding 3 new characters. They're going to be their first appearance of Wave, Arrow, and Swordmaster. So this is going to be their first appearance, and already announced are Arrow and Swordmaster are getting their own titles coming up this summer. So then we also have Giant Man. This is the different Giant Man characters are getting together, because who better to fight frost giants than giants? So it's going to be a little 3-issue miniseries of giant men fighting giants. And then it's going to tie in also to a bunch of the regular books in the Marvel line, including As Guardians of the Galaxy, Champions, The Fantastic Four, Avengers, Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Venom, Thor, Tony Stark Iron Man, and Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So if you want to get everything, you need to get those books too. But they're all nicely marked along the top, letting you know which books are tying in. Amazing Spider-Man comes out with issue 21, which is the end of the Hunted storyline, where with Kraven the Hunter returning. They're also doing Star Wars 108. Now, Star Wars ended at issue 107 back in the 80s due to low sales. It's a really highly sought-after issue because of that, because there weren't many printed, because it was canceled for low sales. They just did a $1 reprint of that issue, and everybody's kind of laughing looking at the character. So on the covers, they're not quite drawn to standard. But Matthew Rosenberg, who's been around for a bit and has been doing a big run on Uncanny X-Men, has decided to write a coda to the series and is doing Star Wars issue 108. So if you're a big Star Wars fan, you're going to want to get that to see where he goes with that. We also have the last part of X-Men Grand Design. Now that's Pittsburgh's own Ed Piskor has been retelling the entire history of the X-Men in these issues. And now he's finally getting to the last part, which is going to be the 90s stuff. The name of this part is Extinction. So this is wrapping up. Been really well received. People have really enjoyed it. And these are going to be the last part is coming out in May. Star Wars is doing their Age of Rebellion. It's been a bunch of one-shots just featuring individual characters. And in May, we're getting a Boba Fett issue, a Han Solo issue, a Jabba the Hutt issue, because who doesn't love Jabba, and a Lando Calrissian issue. So lots more of that coming. So that's what Marvel has going on. They're pretty much focused on War of Realms right now, and they have a lot more coming up later this summer that we'll talk about in those months. Now going to Image. Image has a couple new ones that look interesting. The first one is Excellent. Basically, Spencer Dales, his dad is this wizard. It's a world of magic. And he's part of this council whose job is to help everyone, not themselves, and help people become the best that they can be. But they can never use it to help their own position and things. And when he finally takes the realm, or takes the mantle of doing this, he realizes that the system is broken. And he recruits some of his fellow wizards to change the world for the better. Then the other one is called Gogor, #1. And basically Gogor is a mystical beast that lives under these islands. And they just let him be. He's the protector of these islands. And then when soldiers arrive on the islands, it's the job of this one boy to go wake Gogor to protect them. So, fun. Dark Horse. Dark Horse had a real big hit with Stranger Things. The first miniseries dealt with Will's story in the Upside Down. It wasn't really ever explained in the TV show, and so they were kind of allowed to do it in a comic book form. They're doing a new one that's coming out in May called 6, and basically everybody knows 11, who's the girl in Stranger Things. Well, what happened to the people that came before her? So it's going to be the story of one of her predecessors named 6 and what her story is. We're also getting the graphic novel of Stranger Things, the first volume, coming out in May, and that should do really well. It sold fantastically, and I'm really happy to finally have the book to be able to put in people's hands. Alien Rescue is coming from Brian Wood, and this is the follow-up to Alien Resistance. So if you're an Aliens fan, this is continuing on the story. Last Stop on the Red Line is a murder mystery where there's been a murder on the subway, and in investigating it, it gets supernatural. So Dark Horse has always been good for the horror stuff. They're also doing something that we've been waiting for. Sadly, hopefully it's not too late, but they're doing a Minecraft original graphic novel. There's a free Comic Book Day sample of it. Minecraft has been huge. Kids love it, and now we're finally getting something that we can put in their hands as far as reading, so that's good. IDW. Only a couple new things from IDW besides new My Little Pony and stuff, but a couple interesting things. The first one is They Called Us Enemy. This is a graphic novel by George Takei, who's Sulu on Star Trek, and it's his story of being in a Japanese internment camp during World War II. And he's just kind of getting his story out. It's by the same team that did March, which was the story of the civil rights, and then it won awards and everything. So they're really socially conscious in doing this one, and it should be a really fascinating story. Clue is back with a series called Candlestick. That was just a real fun, silly book based on the board game. And then Road of Bones is a story about a prisoner escaping from a gulag in Russia back in 1953. So, fun. Dynamite. They always like to give us these very interesting books. And the new one that they have coming out is Red Sonja and Vampirella meet Betty and Veronica. The team up you never thought you'd see. Well, now you have a chance to see it. They also have a new one. It's an Altered Carbon original graphic novel called Download Blues. Altered Carbon is a sci-fi show on Netflix. And this is, I believe, written by one of the creators, one of the people involved with it, doing a little more story that wasn't in the show. Boom is having fun. They surprised us by sending us an Angel issue 0. Angel spinning out of the Buffy series. Buffy's been really, really popular with Boom at the helm. And so Angel now is getting his own series, and #1 will be coming out in May. And they also have an original graphic novel based on The Magicians, which is another TV show that's very popular. And it's Alice's story, who's one of the characters. And it's neat because it's written by the writer of the novels. So this should be, true to the character and to the story. Abstract Studios, this is Terry Moore, who did Strangers in Paradise, and he's done some follow-ups to that. He's doing one called 5 Years, which is bringing all of his different stories and characters together into one big saga. Aftershock, who I adore, has been doing good. We did Aftershock month in April, and people really took advantage of it. I'm really glad that a lot of people got their hands on some of the Aftershock product, because it's been really, really, really well done. So they have 2 new ones. One's called Killer Groove, and it's basically set in 1970s LA, and a down-on-the-luck musician who's trying to make it big gets messed up and involved with the mob. So he has to take care of things to keep his career on path. And then Descendant. It's an investigation into the disappearance of a senator's son, and it leads to a path of conspiracy and dark secrets throughout the history of the country. So that's fun. Ahoy Comics, another company that I dearly, dearly enjoy. The new books that have come out from their second wave have been a lot of fun. And we're finally getting the graphic novel from their first wave. The first one that's coming out is The Wrong Earth, where basically Batman 66 Batman switches place with Dark Knight Returns Batman and have to face their villains, and it was really a lot of fun. They have a new one called #Danger, where in this one, 3 scientific adventurers face strange creatures, lost civilizations, and supernatural threats when they're not too busy being complete jerks to each other. So these are neat books because basically they're thicker books than normal, and the comic story is the first half of the book, and then you get a backup story, you get a text piece, an interview with one of the creators, just lots of neat stuff. It's a really nice package, and you really feel like you're getting your money's worth when you're done reading it. Aspen. This is for Brian because he always says I never mention Aspen. Aspen has a new Fathom coming out, and this is where Aspen Matthews must once again restore the balance between Earth and the Blue, as Killian is her nemesis is coming to try to take claim again of what he believes is his. Comics Tribe, another little company, has one called The Wailing Blade, where the head taker, who is a big executioner and holder of the Wailing Blade, has his eyes set on Tychon, who is an upstart bandit prince. So he's trying to protect his father, and they're trying to escape the Wailing Blade. Heavy Metal did an Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast series I couldn't get it in fast enough. People really enjoyed it, and they're doing a volume 2. So I hope all those people come back for volume 2. There's a new one from Kevin Eastman. Kevin Eastman is one of the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and one of the early starters of the black and white boom that happened back in the 80s. And he's returning to his indie comics roots with one called Drawing Blood Spilled Ink. And basically it's the story of a failed cartoonist and his struggles. So it looks good, and it's just nice to see Kevin Eastman doing something new. And then Valiant is coming along. They have one called Fallen World. And this is written by Dan Abnett, who's done a ton of stuff for Marvel, the Guardians of the Galaxy, all that stuff. And this is set in 4002, where Rai is originally set. And basically there's a cyborg samurai named Rai who's struggling to find his morality, while the nanite-filled super soldier Bloodshot is on a mission to save the citizens of Earth. Will they work together for the greater good? All signs lead to no. So it's going to be a big battle, future story with big superpowered guys. And then Vault Comics. Vault is another upstart who's doing a lot of really, really good stuff. And they have a new one called She Said Destroy. And basically it's Brigid, who is the goddess of the sun, has converted everyone in this solar system to worship her, all except one small colony who worships her sister, who is the goddess of death. And so basically it's going to be a battle between the two sisters to see who can be the goddess of this solar system. So those are the books that are coming out. That's the highlights of the things that are coming out in May. Saturday, May 4th, Free Comic Book Day. Please come by just to get some free stuff even, and just see what the store is all about. It's fun. I love it because it's just a big bustling day, and I love having a full store of people looking around and asking questions and stuff. We're doing Star Wars month for the month of May, so any Star Wars graphic novels, you get double points. If you don't know what points are, come on in and ask, and I'll be happy to explain our reward system. As always, if you want to find me, it's the website's pittsburghcomics.com. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram, where I'm trying to post more, is PGH Comics. So thanks as always for watching, and stick around for Comic Previews Theater. Thanks.
The heroic Rebel Alliance has recently won its first great victory against the evil Galactic Empire, thanks to the infamous smuggler Han Solo and his Wookiee companion, Chewbacca. At least, that's the way he sees it. It's time to cut and run and return to their roguish ways.
15, 16, 17,000? That's all of it, Chewie. Just like old Ben Kenobi promised, our reward converted into good, honest Imperial credits. That's enough to pay off Jabba and clean up the Falcon. We could buff out some of these dents, even rewire the hyperdrive couplers you've been grousing about forever. And then the whole galaxy is ours. We can go anywhere. Anywhere. Where are we gonna go, Chewie? Yeah, I don't know either, pal.
Han?
Luke?
Haven't cleaned this junker up yet? I'm kidding.
We're not, right, Chewie? We're finally taking that reward money and taking care of business.
Alright then. Good for you.
What are you doing here anyway? Sneaking away from that rebel life, ready for some real fun?
I just heard you camped out here for a bit, and, well, I've got a favor to ask. There's a secret rebel rendezvous point on the other side of...
Wait. I'm not part of the rebellion.
Sure.
Come on, we only did that Cycron mission for Leia. Thanks to old Softy here. And then Miss High and Mighty wasn't even around when we swung by to say, you're welcome. And now you're coming at us. What are you guys doing? Tag teaming? Saving your can back at the Death Star wasn't favor enough for ya?
Pretty much. Look, it's easy. We just need a few crates delivered to our surveillance outpost on Colomidarian.
Aw, come on. I haven't agreed to anything.
It's serious, Han. Lives are at stake. And you're the best smuggler we've got.
You don't got me. I'm not part of the rebellion.
Thanks, guys.
No, I'm not okay. And yes, it is your fault, big fuzzbrain softy.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. What's this, an Imperial blaster? You're spies.
No, you moron. We're smugglers. Now back off or... Gah! Han.
Oh